Hi, I'm Coach Hallis. Welcome to episode 22 of the Keeping It Real vlog. This is week 2 of quarter 3. Technically, tonight is Monday of week 3, but we had some struggles last week that were beyond our control. So Thursday, due to inclement weather, we had an early release day. It was announced to be an early release day, so we had some poor attendance on that day and even worse attendance on Friday because we had school off. We weren't in person, but we had a remote learning day. About 15 to 20% of the students show up for that, and not a lot gets done as a whole class when only 15 or 20% of people show up. So this is being recorded that Monday after. We got a few things today that I'll touch on at the end of this week. So where we are right now is students are coming along really well with their designs. The outlines essentially on paper are looking pretty good. The outlines on the model pieces are looking pretty good. And the outlines for their articles are almost non-existent. So that's the next step, is catching them up on that. We'll do that as a warm-up, and I'll give them a little bit of time during the day. So moving into this third week here, they'll spend probably half the time in the classroom working on structuring doing their basic research and structuring for their articles, and then the other half will be in the makerspace working on the more physical product. We also started reading last week Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. So it's technically a British literature class, and there are only a couple of strands of the many standards in the class that really require a focus on British literature. So if I haven't mentioned before, we're mostly getting that in through poetry, explorations, and excerpts. But we're also able to look at some contemporary poetry, like the work of Jason Reynolds. And as long as you're covering the standards, you can be creative. You don't have to, just teach Shakespeare all week or all semester long because it's a British literature class. So we're doing some more contemporary work that way. The challenges I want to touch on. So a pretty standard barrier to this kind of work is that, if I just have my students do packets and multiple choice tests and quizzes, and we just do traditional stuff. I lecture, I give them chapters to read in the book. If a kid misses school, then it's easy to just tell them what they missed. It's easy for them to just have to go read that chapter or do that worksheet, or I can send this thing home with them. And that's true. That is a lot easier for a teacher to deal with inconsistently attending students, or when you have things like weather that throws things off for some students more than others, because sometimes some students miss school for legitimate reasons, and it's a lot easier on the teacher to be able to say, yeah, just do this worksheet. Okay, I guess the short answer that I would give to that is what's best for your class at large and what's best for every individual student, whether that is in line with what's easiest for us as teachers, is irrelevant. What would be easy would be to come in and do the bare minimum every day and just technically cover the standards and do the job. But who cares? Who cares what's easiest for the teacher? And I know teaching is a difficult job. There's a lot of reasons it's a difficult job. Even if you're doing the bare minimum, if you care about students and you're just doing the bare minimum in terms of instructional style or teaching philosophy, and you're trying to make the difficult job as easy as possible on yourself, it is still a very difficult job. But it's worth doing. And it's worth doing the difficult things about doing the job well. So, yes, there's a lot more, front-loading work on teachers to prepare for something in a project-based learning style, and you have to do a lot of research, and you have to do a project yourself, and you have to reach out to local resources and all sorts of things like that. But it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And I'm having a blast every day. Like my biggest challenges with these students right now is basically attendance, and then like school structural things like our we have difficulty getting our buses to get here on time. It's like the difficult things are just, okay, can we get here, can we get class started, can we get things going. It's not like in the classroom that it's really difficult, because I've done the work myself ahead of time. I've done a lot of the heavy lifting, and now I get to be a project manager and guide the students along in the process. I get to teach them things that they actually want to learn, and I get to sneak English in there along the way. And it's a lot like my girlfriend says, it's like putting in the vegetables in a soup, or into a not so into a dish that tastes good. You slip in the vegetables along the way, but the appeal is, yeah, you're eating this thing that tastes good. You're eating this soup, and you like it, and you can taste the meat, and you can taste the spices. But yeah, there's celery in there too. So I get to do that, and it's absolutely worth it. I would much rather do the extra work up front and teach this way than to have an easier job where I'm less fulfilled and where I don't get to have the experiences that I do. It's 100% worth it. And if you're a teacher hearing this who hasn't made that effort, who hasn't tried to step outside the comfort zone into doing something with deeper learning, and your barrier is, well, how am I going to deal with the absences, and how am I going to get kids caught up, and how am I going to manage all that? It's the same way that you would if you were on a job site. You do the best you can. So today I had two groups missing. I'm gonna have to get them caught up tomorrow. It's gonna be a challenge. We're gonna have to move on slowly with another group while the other group gets caught up, and I'm gonna try to have to balance things out. But that's my job. So there's a lot of things about doing the job well that aren't easy, but they're always worth it if we're doing our job right. So I'll talk to you at the end of this week for Q3, week 3.